of this minister in the temple of God.
Give us access to our money.
I've always said there are two sets of people.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Conversation this morning is Nze Nze. Nze Nze is a socio-political analyst. He's a regular on Open Conversation and he also prides himself as advocate of the masses. Good morning, Nze, and welcome.
And I believe that that pride subsists because I speak for my people.
You speak for your people.
I have the interests of Nigerians at heart.
You're right.
Thank you very much and good morning.
I'm sure viewers can hear that. I also have with me Victor Eniche, who is also a socio-political analyst and a regular on Open Conversation. Good morning, Victor, and welcome.
Good morning, Larisha. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. It's also good having you here this morning. And then on to the story. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Okezie Kalu, has commended former Abia State Governor Okezie Ikpeazu for accommodating opposition views and promoting free speech during his tenure. Kalu, in a statement released to mark Ikpeazu's 61st birthday, said the former governor's leadership encouraged open expression without fear of persecution and fostered peace and inclusiveness in governance. However, Kalu's remarks come shortly after he faced strong backlash from Abia's residents and the state government over his recent criticism of Governor Alex Otti. His earlier comments drew swift reactions from the public, prompting some observers to view his praise for Ikpeazu as an attempt to contrast the past administration's tolerance with the political atmosphere in Abia State. Through his chief press secretary, Livinus Nwabuhiogu, Kalu described Ikpeazu as a humble leader who respected differing opinions and made strides in infrastructural development. The Deputy Speaker said Ikpeazu's openness and calm approach to dissent remained exemplary qualities for leaders navigating criticism in a democratic setting. I'll start with you, Nze, on the story. What do you make of this position by Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives?
Thank you very much. I believe that Ben is quietly proving to the people the emptiness of his head. And honestly, his crisis or criticism of Alex Otti will definitely deny him the next ticket to the assembly, because I'm not from Abia, but I'm a Nigerian. And if I see any governor who is doing well, any elected member that is sitting in power and doing well for his people, I think I should commend that person irrespective of where he's coming from. Whether he's from the north or from the south or from the west or from the east. But you see that it is Alex Oti's kinsman that is now discrediting Alex Oti amidst applause from around the nation and perhaps the globe for the man who came to clean the rot that the past administrations left in Abia State. And you see that Ben is using his office as the number 6 man in the country, the deputy speaker of House of Reps, to make caricature of such lofty office, proving to Nigerians that he has not matured mentally. Because trying to, I'm being very careful not to use the words that come to my head against this young man. But I respect his office as the Deputy Speaker, Federal House of Reps. But his approach to governance in Abia State is something terrible. Trying to make comparison between Okezi Ikpeazu and Alex Oti is like bringing dark black and crystal white to compare them of being the same color or closely related. How can that happen? Now, Okezi Ikpeazu knows very well that he has nothing to share or compare when meeting with Alex Oti, the serving governor, the people's governor. To a large extent, Ikpeazu's wrote made Oti a saint, and a crystal saint for that matter. If Oti should go to heaven with the kind of praise people are giving him here on earth, he may be likened to the class of Angel Gabriel, because that Carlo coming to say that Ikpeazu tolerated dissent in Abia State. What will Ikpeazu fight for self? What will he fight for? Is it not when you are doing something and somebody comes to say, no, you are not doing something? And the person, you can now stand to, how will you, look, you are lying down and somebody comes to tell you are lying down, you begin to fight. Has that person said what is wrong? Now, we know that for the 8 years Ikpeazu stayed in Abia State, we saw all that happened. I'm not from Abia and I don't have any reason going to investigate him except for my job as a public analyst, that I go through every information that emanates from those places. So if Oti, if Ikpeazu did not maybe take any decent criticism so seriously, it is as a result of his non-performance. But Oti also is not listening to Ben. You know that Ben is just doing everything to pull Oti out of his shell. And the only one comment Oti made is turning him left, right, and center. And he's now coming to shout. Oti said, you are planning to rig election. Because coming to publicly to say that you can't be number 6 citizen and another political party other than APC. When he was making that statement, I took him out of context. I felt maybe he will go to Oti to join APC. But if he's saying that Oti will remain in another political party and he will bring APC to win Abia, it means that he's preparing to write election results somewhere. And Oti says, no problem, you will write. But before writing, let me advise you as an elderly man, as an experienced man, as a man of the people, and as a man that his people loves. Before writing your result for 2027 governorship election, write your will. Do you know that that statement is deeper than we read it through? Because you know Abia, you know Aba people, you know the way they operate. They've come to love this man who has liberated them from the clutches of past administration. And you tell me that you come to that same Abia State and write result. How? I know that APC delights in a rigging election.
Right. And that's an allegation.
Yes, and it's an allegation. That's to you. That's to you. But allow me, please. Allow me. APC delights in rigging elections, and that is the bane of their power. And that is what Ben wants to bring to us. that he will do it in Abia. And Oti had said, we are not afraid of your writing election. We know how you have been doing that. If not that the INEC person, Oti, that refused
Professor Nenna.
Professor Nenna, if not that she refused, the same line of writing election would have happened. But the woman stood her ground. And Oti is telling him now that when next you'll be coming in 2027 to write that election, first write your will. Because after writing the election, I don't think you will stay to maybe enjoy whatever.
That's threat to life. One could say
that.
No,
if I'm quoting Oti, if Oti had threatened him, well, let him take Oti to court. Because this is Nigeria. We believe that Nigeria is a lawful society. So if Oti has threatened Carlo for all the nonsense Carlo is vomiting, let Carlo take Oti to court. And the court will meet.
Okay. Victor, what is your take on this story?
I'm surprised that we're already in court, One thing I like about his style of analysis is that he's straight, don't come and hit the nail on the head, And I understand why, his idea for, going hard on Ben and all of what he has said. But for me, I think it's a non-issue. Sometimes I wonder how some of these kind of issues, are the things that these politicians, push and, this agenda they bring for us to discuss, to talk about. I think it was more like a deflection. The criticism with OT, the back and forth with OT, I think it was so much on the negative for him. So he needed some diversion. So hence, I think this
but then, don't you think it's still, even the diversion will still bring more backlash? No. Now it's reacting
that's the
I've
point.
never seen Nze react like this before.
Yeah, now, see the idea. Whatever he has said or whatever back and forth he had with OT hasn't been given that much positive feedback on his part. So, coming now to say Ikpeazu, tolerated. What else was he supposed to do as a governor? I know he asked. I mean, I had some friends that worked with Ikpeazu, when he was governor, and so I had some privileged information on how the government was run and how the problem wasn't the lack of funds, but lack of ideas and initiative from the government, that's headed by Ikpeazu. And I don't think it's a secret that he did not do exceptional. He didn't do very well as a governor of Abia State. He didn't do anything different from what previous governors have been doing. There was no new thing. I think the only
flyover.
Please.
Osisioma flyover.
Okay.
Lorenzo is bringing more trouble.
No, but you can't know. But genuinely, he will always. It was a landmark project. That was the first flyover in Aba. That was a landmark project, and you credit that to Ikpeazu.
I think if any responsible, reasonable person would even want to hide things, when you do things like that, you don't want people to say, "Don't say, no, I've done it."
But he did one flyover.
Oh, God!
In 8 years. At least that is something. Isn't that something?
Please. It's too much of a joke. When you check the amount of money, the fund that came in during Ikpeazu's time, and yes, not as much as what he's getting now, but I mean, he performed poorly, very poorly. So I don't think this issue of Carlo coming to praise him is for me, it's completely irrelevant.
Now, one would say to a large extent, when he said that Okezie Ikpeazu was very tolerant of dissenting voices. Well, that, reminded me of some things that happened in Abia State then. First of all, when a woman gave birth in a public hospital and the governor said they should, I think she was given 500 naira by the governor. And the issue came up. And the governor was saying that 500 naira was a lot of money to have given a woman give birth.
No, you know the truth is...
It's a real story that happened. Ridiculous, unbelievable, but true.
But it happened.
But it happened in Abia State. And that trended for a while. And while that was going on, now, conversations and criticisms, with regards to the quality of road, particularly the flyover, there were concerns that flyover were being built with substandard materials. And then people were saying, even till now, you rarely see motorists take that flyover up. They take down. Because they were saying that the quality of materials used in building that flyover
I think I want to join them in saying...
then...
Not they, I joined
when the governor was having a media chat, and that concern was brought up, the governor, attributed the bad roads, the breakdown of bad roads to women who will wash and pour water from food, soapy water with pepper on the road. And he said this is the reason why
I agree that Ikpeazu's tenure was...
so he actually did respond to criticism.
It was all of mediocrity and... I think...
But he wasn't saying it as a joke. He was saying it
That's
seriously.
what I'm saying. When you see... I'm trying to... The words shouldn't come out. Because if I use the word that, immediately, I would know. I'm trying not to...
Thank you very much.
But please, we know this thing he's doing is a joke. Let's just...
No, the thing is, when statements like this are made,
how do you make such statements
it
like
will
this?
Bring the administration of Ikpeazu under spotlight.
I think he just wanted to divert the
That also
attention
brings me
from...
to another point. When before Okezi Ikpeazu became the governor of Abia State, Okezi Ikpeazu was the chairman of ASEPA in Aba. That is Abia State Environmental... sanitation, yes. Your guess is as good as mine. Abia State was on all-time low in dirtiness. Like, Abia State at some point was even touted as one of the dirtiest cities in Africa, right? In Africa. And that, to a large extent, you can tell. How do you tell, for example, if you are going from Port Harcourt, for example, to Aba? The moment you enter Abia State with that, there's this gully where they throw dirt.
The medium, that's...
Yes, the dirt, even...
The dump sites.
The dump sites, it got to the highway.
Yeah.
Like, the dirt was blocking the road on the highway. That is East-West Road.
You practically drive on dirt.
You drive on dirt. And the stench will follow you for minutes. Even on high speed, the stench will follow you for minutes. That's how I know. I don't need the boundary. I don't look for any boundary. The moment we get to that spot, I know that, okay, I've entered Abia State.
But
that's the reality that Abia people lived with for a long time.
For a very long time.
Then he became the governor.
And then
he became, as
lasted.
chairman, did nothing.
Yeah.
And then became the governor. It became worse. It became worse.
That is why you see, when I try to talk about Ben and his comparison of Ikpeazu and Oti, I find it difficult to believe that Ben actually reasoned well before coming to talk on air. Because, you see, those who gave Okezi Ikpeazu the ticket of PDP to contest to contest for governor, and also made sure that they delivered him, you now see their mindset. Now, Ikpeazu for a long time. He has served in your government for about 8 years, and even in the successive government, and the kind of person he is. When he came in power, when he came on board, you see him display drinking of alcohol in open view of camera. And now, how would you now compare a man who gives 500 naira to a woman whom God delivered? See the height of insult to Abians, height of insult
and had the temerity to even explain that
how big the money is, 500 naira. Now, and how do you consider the capacity, the thinking capacity of that person? And when people complain about bad road, he likened it to women who wash their date and throw on the road. So just see the class of people.
The salt and the pepper was breaking down
the road. Then he, as a governor, could not fix it. And the
No, he said
flyover-
he keeps fixing and they keep throwing those
so
things.
they
and he keeps-
kept
keeps
wasting his
spoiling the
effort. So, and he came to build a flyover for 8 years. You know how much suffering
flyover.
we, the users of that road, suffered for 8 full years. And by the time the flyover was commissioned, it was Janglover. Instead of flyover, it was Janglover. And I told you that I almost flew out of the, when I had not known I was coming on, I think I was about 120. So with just my mind, the next thing, the vehicle flipped up. I shouting Jesus, and the thing continued happening until I descended. It was like, so when I was now returning back, I had to slow down. Running on 80, yet the same thing happened. So you now see that actually the man Igbazu shouldn't be mentioned. Let his picture just be in the government house.
I agree
as
with
one of the
everything.
governors
Everything you have said, I agree.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be mentioned when people are talking about Alex Oti. Nobody. And the Ben who brought this comparison have also shown the height of his own insensibility to the plight of people of Abia. And another question we'll be asking is, if you said that Alex Igbazo tolerated you people when he was in power, doing nothing, he tolerated you people. And this man has come to do something. The same you that spoke bad about Igbazo have come to speak bad about him. And you expect him to keep quiet, and he has kept quiet, and you kept dragging until finally he responded to you. And one response seemed like double barrel that now threw you off balance. The truth is that even himself, Ben, has not done anything for his constituency. I think he's from the
I think he did. There are pictures of about 3 things.
No, let's see now. He's number 6, eh? Please, he's number 6. Let's take him by being number 6. Not just
three-room classroom. I think I saw that.
3-room classroom.
Yes,
Three-room classroom.
And
which are
wait,
given
hold
to
on.
the people.
3-room classroom. And there was another one. An open space where they put grinding machine for grinding corn. I saw that as well.
These are his constituency projects.
Yes.
And such a man is coming to speak when men are talking. Simply because he has been helped to.
But he would say that he has employed labor. He has helped by at least there is a building where they grind corn. I think about 6 corn grinding machines also were there. Also.
Good. Lawrence, thank you very much.
Maybe more. I mean, what I saw.
Thank you very much for provoking me to this extent on national television. Thank you for doing that. But I think I will have to be matured enough to control my emotions. Because you have just insulted Igbo race. A man who claims to the height of number 6 man in Nigeria, in this our Nigeria, has built 3-room classroom for his people and has brought 6 grinding machine for women to grind their corn. And that is his constituency project. And he's coming on.
There may be more. There may be more.
Let him show them. Look, I challenge Ben Carlo to show his performances. If he has not shown his performances, let media houses bar him from appearing on televisions, because it's an insult to Igbo race.
All right, very well.
Sorry, I just want to mention something. While you see how ridiculous all of this sounds, there's an actual problem that we might end up missing if we continue in this trajectory. And like I said, I have friends in Abia State that are close to the government, and even in this government that we're praising so much about how, of course, it's clear. You say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed
man is king.
So the little OT is doing, I say little because actually little. The little OT is doing.
It's like so much.
It's so much because of the neglect and the antecedent of the previous administration. There's a problem. The problem, I think, is this. If we do not have people that constructively and reasonably criticize what OT is doing, we're going to let OT go with a mediocre performance that seems like a superhero is performing.
Because of the fact that his predecessors did absolutely nothing. So whatever he does right now is
amplified.
But then will you blame the people? Because I mean,
I will.
Hold on, please. You're looking at over 16 years of no governance. Like, there is absolutely no government presence in Abia State. Absolutely none.
I agree.
Right? And we had governors who, you know, just come in the morning and greet their mother, play goosey, and then just eat and go. We had governors like that in Abia State. I don't want to mention the name of the governor, but I'm saying this thing clearly because, I mean, Abia State is like a second home to me. I went to school there, I grew up there, I was born there. My majority of my life has been in Abia State. So I can tell. So it's not a function of what I heard. It's a function of what I experienced, where children will be going back from school and the water level is so much that the school bus cannot go to pick us up. And now I had to back my sister with the school bag with water as high up as my belly. And I'm a female child. And I'm going to school. I go back to school drenched. No, that time, no. When it rains like that, your parents tell you to stay back home. But probably we are coming back from school. The school bus will not come to pick us up. And we will wait and wait and wait for us. Then maybe around 4 p.m., we will have to back, all of us will leave as a crowd. We will back our siblings because, of course, they will drink water. Now, water will enter their mouth. So as young as I was, I will have to back my younger ones. And my younger one, my eldest sister will back the other one. And we will trek with other students. Water as high up as our belly, and we will trek back home. And this is a distance of from Omongase, Abowere Road, Omongase, from Omongase to as far as Fox Road, Lupao, close to Samek, as far as that distance. I am telling you, between the ages of 7 and 8, a lot of students were exposed. You understand? And it was a lot. It was in about one time that a military administrator during the military era, I remember very vividly, but I cannot remember the name of the military administrator. In fact, that was how they walked that Fox Road, Aba Road, Ariaria, from Port Harcourt Road to Ariaria, Fox Road, Aba Road. That was how that road was. I remember vividly because the man was, you know, doing the normal, that time the military administrators do drive around the city with their escorts. Unfortunately for him, it rained that day and the rain was so much. The flood that time will carry grown people, like will wash grown people away. Unfortunately for him that day, that was when Ariaria had closed. Ariaria International Market. The market closed and the traffic was much. The man was stuck in the traffic. Ariaria people got angry. The crowd was so much. They overwhelmed his escorts. They made him come down from the car. I witnessed this. They made him come down from the car and trek through the water. They took him back to Ariaria. And he trekked back. He was soaked with water and it was still raining. Rain was pouring on him. His escorts were they couldn't do anything because the crowd was so much. You understand? And after he left disgracefully, the next week they started walking on the road.
And that is the people that Ben is telling you that he will come and write election result for. No, that is the same people. I agree with you. So you see the spirit in Aba. If they can lynch, if they can bring down a military governor, then it is Ben, who is number 6 man doing nothing, that will come to Abia State and write election result. Let him do that, and we'll watch and see how it will be.
What you're saying, I mean, it's still, I'm saying in all of this, I have a worry that is a bit insidious. It's not obvious, but that's the problem. When, like I said, I have people close to the government, and they have their complaints that are legit complaints about how governance is done in the open. Yes, he's doing some good stuff because a lot of things have been neglected. But internally in governance,
there is dissonance.
There's a lot going on. From the local, there's no local government in Abia State. When I say that, there are elected people there, but in terms of how resources and funds are disbursed and how powerful or influential the people are to their people, there's absolutely. As it
stands, I think the local governments are now receiving directly from federal.
No, they're not getting. That's that.
How come in the case of Osun State, federal government paid directly to local governments?
That was how do you put it?
It was a separate issue.
Yes, it was a different. But I'm saying there's an issue because the local government do not have account direct account that you say the federal government will send, they still send to the state government account that where they send the fact. It's the same account.
I'm aware that local governments do have their accounts
There's
because
no-
even if the state government is paying to local
there's
governments,
an amendment in the House of Assembly that they are still working on, that they've not done, on how the funds are going to be disbursed in this local government autonomy. It's still not settled. So what they are using are the same account from the fact, is the same account they are using.
and Alex Oti is not disbursing
Now
the
the
funds.
idea is the state government should, once the money comes, the idea is send the money. It doesn't, and you will not complain. I make you chairman, you want to complain. So there's this issue. People are if you go to Abia, they ask people who is it, how a council or dole or a chairman. They are not known. They are not seen as.
Is it that the governor is not disbursing the funds meant for local governments to them?
Not as it should be.
Is he disbursing?
Not as it should be. He is, of course, obviously that's the only way, but not as it should be. I'm saying these are not, vicious problems. But I'm saying there are issues, internal issues that ought not to be so. That because we have failed to criticize what Ben Carlos should be discussing is.
Are these issues?
Yes, not
these governance issues
not
that can
this-
make sense.
Exactly, not these non-issues and very
Right.
relevant issues that he's doing. And because they are failing to do that, they are failed as an opposition. What he's simply doing is impressing the presidency. That is all he's doing. Let it be loud. But he's actually not doing any good for his state, which is Abia State. Oti is his elder brother. They are from the same area. So I'd expect that you would look for ways to attract more, just like he's claiming, attract more without making the state look useless. Pushing for actual, actions that would favor the people. But because we're ignoring this, and look, apart from Ben, which other voice are you hearing in Abia State? In Abia State, if you play opposition, they will kill you. That is how it is. No, I said I didn't have been repeating this, that I have people that are in
So
the
you
system.
cannot speak against Alex Oti openly.
I'm not saying you cannot, but I'm saying they are not doing it. And I'm saying it's not doing it for doing its sake, but be constructive. We should have opposition that would speak to issues that will ensure that the people get the proper dividends of what
Right.
they're getting.
Very well. Very well. Now, moving forward, internal crisis within the People's Democratic Party has worsened as the party's national secretary, Senator Samuel Ayamu, petitioned the Department of State Services, the Inspector General of Police, and the Independent National Electoral Commission over an alleged forgery of his signature. Ayamu alleged that a letter purportedly sent to INEC on August 25, 2025, regarding the party's planned national convention was neither authored nor approved by him. He described the act as criminal and called for an investigation and prosecution of those responsible within the PDP and INEC. The controversy comes amid an ongoing court battle in suit number FHC/ABJ/CS/2120/25 filed by PDP chairmen from Imo and Abia states, Austin Wachukwu and Ama Abraham Nana, alongside South Zonal Secretary Turner Alaba George. The plaintiffs accused the Damagum-led National Working Committee of breaching the party's constitution and internal election guidelines, prompting judicial intervention. The case, presided over by Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, was adjourned to October 20 after disputes arose over legal representation, with two advocates, Kamaldeen Ajibade and Chief Chris Uche, laying claim to the role of party's counsel. The crisis, which had further fractured the PDP ahead of its November 15 to 16 National Elective Convention in Ibadan, has exposed deep divisions between factions loyal to acting National Chairman Omar Damagum and those aligned with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Disputes over the South-South zonal leadership control of the party structures and micro-zoning arrangements have intensified, raising fears that the lingering legal and internal wranglings could derail the convention and further weaken the opposition party. I will start with you on this one. What do you make of this story, Victor?
I think it was here when we were talking about parties and opposition
Yes.
last week, and I mentioned that as for the PDP, I don't think they are a party to think about, for now. I don't believe the PDP is dead. I believe they are in coma. I believe that right now they are going through a phase that, if handled properly, they have a potential of still maintaining that major opposition party stance after 2027, not in 2027. So whatever is happening now, you see, is people still trying to hold on to that structure to ensure that whatever is to be done in 2027 is done, and they can start afresh after 2027. And that is the end game of whatever you're saying now. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense that they're having argument about, convention or no convention, when they practically lost almost all their governors. They've lost a lot of. So you ask, what exactly are they fighting?
How many governors are even remaining right now?
5 or 6 remaining. So for me, this is a fight for the structure of the PDP. No, they don't want to lose it because it's a viable structure if handled properly. Whatever they have a game they are playing, and the game is, yes, we have left and made sure a lot of persons believe this, but it is a temporal movement we're doing. We do not want to lose this structure, because look, if Damagun ensures and takes over the structure of PDP out of the hands of Wike, even if they don't have any governor left, the chances are the opposition, which is the ADP and the likes of Atiku, they can have a negotiation that will bring them back to PDP, and they will push that party, and so that is what Wike, they know that this could happen, because whatever you want to put it, defection is like I saw on social media. Defection now water.
And has Atiku officially resigned from PDP? He has not yet.
No, I think he did.
Has he officially resigned?
Yes,
okay.
He did. But I'm saying
he can still come back.
Yes, the same way he resigned, he can simply say they've gotten the soul of the party back, and it will be to them it will be a better platform than whatever
than
platform.
ADC.
So that is what you see. The fight you're saying now, it is for not for now, but for that is for the they are doing it to ensure that it is not used against them whenever they want to come back. Then for the article, they are looking for, this is an option. Let's see if we can get this party back. If we're able to push these guys, since most of his persons have left the PDP and have gone to the APC, let's see if we can push them away and start something to do. There's still time for that. And that is what Wike knows. If he gives them an opportunity, that is what would happen. So for me, I think I see a long-term politics being played with the PDP.
Okay.
The PDP is a structure, is a viable name, has currency that, all you just need to do is push in some money, push in some propaganda, and the PDP will still
bounce back.
Yes, a better platform to push. And that is what they are fighting for. Not necessarily because of 2027 or because of these issues. It's just for the soul of the party, and that is what I see happening here.
You're right, very well. Now, the crux of the matter is that Samuel Anyanwu is alleging forgery of his signature in writing to INEC, notifying them of the National Convention. Now, Nze, in the last, I think that was sometime last week, you were on the show on the Monday, and we were discussing PDP, and I now asked you, considering that Damagum and Anyanwu, they are at variance, I now asked who issues notices of meetings. You recall that conversation?
Yeah.
And of course, I told you that the PDP constitution says the chairman calls for meetings.
Yeah.
It is the secretary that issues notice of meeting and as well as take records or minutes of the meeting. Now, I was now asking if Damagum and Anyanwu are not seeing eye to eye. If Samuel Anyanwu does not issue notice of meeting and write probably to INEC and all the bodies responsible, will that meeting hold? Can it be seen as valid? Now, a week down the line, there is an allegation by Samuel Anyanwu that his signature has been forged in writing notice of meeting for National Convention to INEC. What do you make of this story?
First thing is that Anyanwu has petitioned the
DSS and the police.
And police and INEC to thoroughly investigate that forgery or cloning of his signature. If truly he's not the one that, I believe that when these enforcement agencies delve into it, they will discover at actually signed, or if his signature was whoever did that, I believe that PDP, National Caucus of PDP, has grown beyond that level to commit such minor crime. And you see that it is what causes a wound causes it to bleed. So the problem in PDP, just like Victor has said, is a fight for the root of the party. Yes, the Wike group knows what will happen if Damagun should clinch to the superstructure of PDP. And I believe that if they bounce back in full force, go with it. It will not be calculation on their side, both his group and Damagun's group, because you see that the fight in River State was wrongly calculated, and that's why you see people now shitty between Wike and Damagun. Because I see Samuel Lyon as a proxy, somebody who is working for somebody. And Umar Damagun, whom they're supposed to have removed 2 years ago. Remember we talked about, was it 2 years, either 2 years ago or last year, when, because he was there on acting capacity. And law that does not guarantee perpetual stay on office of, on acting capacity, no. But however, the battle has raged to this point that they are now having issues about conducting elective national convention. And you know, if they miss it this November, it will now move into 2026. And in as much as I know that PDP will not present any viable candidate that will make sense in 2027, I know that, and every Nigerian know that, even the PDP people, even Damagun know that they cannot present any viable candidate in 2027. But there is something, just like Victor said, long-term politics, long-term planning. If they get it now, they will begin to put things on ground that in the near future, by 2028, 2029, you see the influx of most of those power brokers that left PDP return back to PDP and rebuild PDP. And PDP will give APC a good fight in 2031. And you know that APC will definitely have problem.
Very sure.
Yes, they will clash, because when you are overbloated, you may either burst or be deflected.
An implosion.
So now the APC is already overfeeding itself. And I believe that Bola Tinubu is aware of this. It's a game plan. But however, let me not preempt them. Otherwise, they begin to call me prophet, and I wouldn't like to maintain that title. Let's watch them. But the only thing I will advise if I may call them the titans in PDP, is to do a more calculated fight. Don't just fight to get it, and while you are fighting to get it, you're exposing your nakedness. If at the end of the day you win the fight and you have already exposed yourself, what will you tell the spectators?
Now, with PDP internal crisis, we won't say that PDP is driving to a point where probably at the end of the day, whoever wins, one would say they've won the battle, but they lost the war.
The war, yeah.
In the sense that, okay, within the rank and file of the PDP, you are now known as the national officers, you're now in control of the party. However, you know, you have ended up losing the war because you've lost your foot soldiers, you've lost your strong
your captains, your commanders.
You've lost your generals. Your ship is the only thing standing with empty chambers, right? And at the end of the day, you know, if care is not taken, even come the general elections, they may not really have much lawmakers left, or that will win on their platform. Neither. When you look at all these things, you understand, one would say, because I mean, the defection started early. by 2026, what will be left of PDP? Because if they don't get their acts together, January 2026, election has started actually. There might be much more defections. One would say, is PDP going to self-destruct at this point in time?
Well, I think right now PDP is ambivalent territory. You know, in war, they are active participants. There are the people for and against, and there are people that are not in the fight, but they are all for grabs. That is how the PDP is. They are not in the battle, but they are in the battle. They are not fighting the battle, but they are in the perimeters of that battle. And because you're just like how it was during the Biafran War, just by proxy, you're part of the war. Whether River State, Port Harcourt, this area, South, yes, they were not actively in the battle, but because of the territory, when Nigerian army come, they don't care whether they see you as Biafran army, whether you are not, because of territory and all of that. And that is how the PDP is right now. Yes, I mean, there's a statement that Akpabio made, when Saraki Dixon was talking during the INEC chairman, when they were supposed to interview him, or what was the question? Akpabio said something that should allow him, that they are taking wise decisions. That if they don't go now, who will sign their form? How will they contest? Any wise person will not even be there in the PDP. He said it in the floor of the house. Now, and that is the truth. There's a trap. There's a monster. There's nobody. What you see happening with the PDP is a plot. And the mistake the PDP made was romancing the ego of Atiku and Wike.
For too long.
The PDP had an opportunity of feigning the most credible party. They had an opportunity pushing a candidate as a South person, from the last election would have been a major booster for them. Going back to Atiku was a mistake. Because why? You had an opportunity of Tinubu the candidate of Tinubu was shaky. It was really shaky. People were not, a lot of persons did not want him. Of course, that was one of the reasons. A lot of people tilted towards Obi because they saw it as a better, viable option. PDP had that opportunity. PDP had people that if they had presented, not Wiki, when I say people, not Wiki of course, but people that they would have presented and would have caused a challenge that would have kept them in the open. But what they did was, tilting to Atiku. Look, as far as this country is concerned, any party that tilts to Atiku's interest will not work in this country. Because Atiku is a highly selfish individual that, just the way Tinubu was, all he cared about was about what I want. So it wasn't about building a viable opposition, it was about building a structure that would take him to that position. Tinubu is a bit inflexible because he was willing to sacrifice a lot. And he did sacrifice a lot. Atiku doesn't want to sacrifice. If Atiku was that person that Tinubu, he would have reconciled with Wike, somehow compromised to bring Wike along, which would have boosted his influence. But what? He did not. The fear he had was, this guy is strong, this guy, if I carry this guy will topple me, this guy. You're scared of what could happen to you.
When you've not even become.
So you see that for the PDP, there's I don't think they are in the battle. The fight in the battle is within themselves. It's not even to take over anybody. They know that, just like he said, they know that they cannot take over. Damagun knows that he cannot present any candidate that will win or stand as a strong opinion. That's why I think, the issue of Jonathan coming in was them thinking, okay, let's see if we push in somebody that is strong. At a point, I think I read them even thinking they could woo Obi to come along. So they know that they have the name, they have the reputation, as a national party. All they need is for strong people with character. But the same party that are looking for somebody with character to come and represent the party, they themselves do not have the character.
All right.
So that is where the PDP right now, I don't think PDP is in the battle. They are not in the battle, so there's no point saying they lost the battle. They are not fighting.
Battle within themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So the battle is within themselves are not.
And then they are losing the war, being
They've lost.
Oh, very well. Then moving forward to alleged coup, Defense Headquarters has debunked reports alleging that the cancellation of Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary activities was due to an attempted coup plot. In a statement by the Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, the DHQ describes the report by an online publication as false, malicious, and intended to cause unnecessary tension. Gusau clarified that the decision to cancel the parade was to allow President Bola Tinubu attend a strategic bilateral meeting abroad and enable the armed forces to maintain momentum in the fight against terrorism, insurgency, and banditry. He added that the arrest of 16 officers recently mentioned by the DHQ was unrelated to any coup attempt, but part of routine disciplinary procedures. Reassuring Nigerians of the military's loyalty, the DHQ affirmed its commitment to democracy and the Constitution, urging the public to disregard false reports and continue supporting the armed forces in safeguarding national peace and stability. Nze, what do you make of this story?
Well, thank you very much. I think I have long awaited this kind of report from the Defense Headquarters because, you know, the issue of Q is it's a very strong threat to democracy, very strong threat to democracy. And, if by any means some officers in the army are coming out to say this, yes, Defense Headquarters can say whatever they want to say. Mind you that oftentimes Q does not start from there. Q starts from among a few officers who feel disgruntled about what is happening and who feel that they can topple government and do their stuff. And most often they are middle officers from rank of major downward, and, major captain and all that. They are the most fierce in the army. And if you can bring some lieutenant colonels, they will still join. And if this rumor should have been allowed to last longer, you see that if those people who, dreamt of it, while they are cooling their heads somewhere, others will come up. Because every Nigerian is a Nigerian in the spirit first. And you know there is a spirit that permeates us as a people. When something happens and there is no commensurate response, that should either stop that thing immediately, there is likelihood of another group coming up to repeat same. That's why you see that after Ojukwu fought for Biafra and they had the war, 30 months war, and while people were relaxing, suddenly Wazirike came up with the same Biafra stuff. They silenced him. Nnamdi Kanu has come up. Now, why they were incarcerating Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa came up. And why they heard Simon Ekpa, Gentle Yahoo came. And it will shock you that incarceration cannot stop this agitation except a proper thing is done. Now, for the Defense Headquarters to come up to say there was no sign of Q, it will help a lot of people believe that there was no sign of Q. And I cannot stay here to tell you that there was attempt. Because Q is not something you just come and talk about. Do you know that penalty for Q is death? Failed Q. The penalty is death. So why should anybody come to talk about it when you are not certain? Now, they are telling us that the 15 officers they are detaining, 16 officers they are detaining is on a different... They should have told us what exactly was the offense. But if they didn't tell us...
They said inability. They said one of the things they mentioned was that the disciplinary measures that they couldn't pass exams. promotional.
We
The reasons
agree.
they actually gave was not.
See, it was too flimsy.
Yes,
it was too flimsy.
because I mean, you recall when recently a military man that was court-martialed was sentenced to death.
Yeah.
You know, by the military court. When his arrest was done for everything he did, I mean, all that process was not even made public.
Yeah. You don't expect military to show
All
you
that was not
what they
made
do in public.
Right.
Yeah.
Even with the level of crime that officer committed. Now,
Even
one would
coming
say-
to tell us the judgment, even for military coming to tell us the judgment, I felt they were just being too lenient and being partially civil in some of those things. Otherwise, military matter is handled militarily and it remains for them. That's why they don't allow the conventional court to try military cases. They bring it back to themselves. That's why it is called court-martial.
You're right.
They bring it back to themselves and they handle it. So for now that they have come to say there was no threat of failed coup and all that, I plead with Nigerians to take it from that angle. And also let government of Tinubu use their tongue and count their teeth.
All right.
Because if this is anything to go by, it is possible that those whom you don't know knew about the coup may eventually regroup. Are you getting me?
Because it means that it's a seed that has been sown.
that is the point.
You may kill the people, but the idea.
Now,
it is an idea
that's why I said
dangerous.
those that knew about it. You know, in coup, if there is a failed coup and you heard about it, you're also involved. If there is a failed coup and you heard, just heard, somebody's,
planning was
maybe
going
Victor came around, this thing, I know go come that meeting, no. I know Grigo, but I didn't report. And the thing failed. I'm involved. That is one thing about this military stuff. So you have just captured these 16. You don't know others. There's no how only 16 of them, if truly, because we are speaking as if this thing is Q, truly. They are telling us it is not Q. But who even came up to allege that there was coup plot? That's the issue.
All right.
So, you can't see a smoke without fire.
All right,
yes,
very
the
well.
fire may not burn, but it means that somehow
Something is
something is fanning the ember somewhere.
All right. Nze is saying that you cannot build nothing. You cannot build something on nothing. That there must have been something. What do you make of this story?
I think I completely agree with what he has said. It makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, some of the things I heard, I asked around. I can't discuss them on television, but that's why I said I agree with him that there's no smoke without fire. And the fact that the question is who even suggested, who assumed,
Who brought up the idea?
that it would be that it was because it was a coup that made them do all of this. So there's no smoke without fire, but it's good to come out in this manner to do this. But I think there should be more, and they should tackle whatever caused this issue, whatever minor or major. I think the military needs to sit up and ensure that within themselves they are lesser dissatisfied and disgruntled people within them, because I think that's what causes or enforces or informs people to take actions of coup. So they should do better to ensure that we don't.
Well, one would say the fear may be palpable to a large extent, considering the successful coups across certain countries in West Africa. In Africa, for example, you have Burkina Faso, you have Mali, and other states with the backing of
some foreign
with the backing
countries.
of Russia, and also some ties to China, as it were. And then people are looking at it that, okay, the China and Russia are trying to topple and whittle down the influence of the West, right? So people are looking at this. If you're looking at this from the bigger picture, international politics and what could be going on, then, like Nze said, this could be like, okay, President Bola Tinubu, use your tongue and count your teeth. And he also said this is not coming out of nothing. But let's say, like you said, if the defense headquarters have said there was no coup, then Nigerians
should believe there's
believe
no.
that there was no.
But let me drop this before we draw the curtain.
Very
You see, there is no how you can have a queue in a nation without collaboration. And you know that people talk to people. And look at what is happening, the gale of queue around Africa, as if I would say West Africa, and see the ill feeling of the rank and file of our military. You see the ill feeling our soldiers are going through, the demoralization the soldiers are going through, by way of not really handling insurgency, insecurity the way it should be handled. Because there are people powering this. We've seen helicopters, we've seen planes bringing ammunitions, bringing food and other military hardwares to these people. We've seen it. And government has not taken a decisive action to investigate these things and perhaps bring the perpetrators to book. Rather, they keep romancing with the sponsors to the demoralization of the Nigerian soldiers. You see that it is possible that the young ones might say, we can't continue like this. Since we have signed to serve our nation, we'll continue to serve our nation, but we want to stop this, then we hand back over to civilian rule. And
Interesting,
like
but then
that.
the people who were arrested are not young people in the military rank and file. They are actually, among the high-ups.
Until you know their age, until you know their ages, then that's when you say whether they are young or...
You're talking from the angle of age, but
the
I'm looking at the angle
ranking.
of ranking in military. It is not your age, it is your rank.
I know,
right?
but I know the
All
angle
right.
I'm coming from.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Nze. It's a pleasure having you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nigerians.
And thank you so much, Victor. It's also a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much, our viewers. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Open Conversation. I remain Laurentia Ugu. Transition News comes up next. Do not go away.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the